It had been a long and demanding year, and the office had finally arranged a casual get-together to celebrate the culmination of months of hard work. My husband, William, had been talking about it with excitement for weeks on end. He spoke of it constantly, mentioning how it would be a much-needed chance to unwind, to catch up with his colleagues outside the constraints of daily work demands. He viewed it as a well-deserved escape, a night where people could shed their professional facades and just be themselves for a while. Personally, I wasn't particularly enthusiastic. Office events often felt like an obligatory performance, a show of cheerfulness and small talk. People who barely acknowledged you in passing would now become overly enthusiastic, acting as though deep bonds had always existed. Still, William's excitement was infectious. I decided it would be worth attending, if only to support him and share in something he so clearly looked forward to. The venue was tastefully elegant. The lighting was low and inviting, casting a warm glow over the room. A smooth current of jazz floated through the space, soft but persistent, setting a calm mood. Tables were scattered with gourmet oddities, arranged with an elegance that felt just slightly excessive. Familiar faces dotted the crowd, but most attendees were William's coworkers, people I had only met in passing, if at all. I remained close to William, engaging in light conversation here and there, maintaining a presence without drawing attention to myself. I observed quietly, half listening, half daydreaming. That was when I noticed her. Evelyn, her name had been mentioned by William before. In passing, nothing noteworthy, till now. She was in her late 30s, tall and striking, with waves of dark hair that framed her face like a portrait. There was a certain energy to her that made it hard not to look. She radiated confidence and charm in equal measure. Her laughter rang out clearly above the ambient noise, and she had a way of commanding the space around her, as if gravity bent slightly in her direction. She lingered near William more than seemed incidental. Her conversations with him were animated, her gestures expressive, her proximity just slightly too close for comfort. I couldn't point to anything specific, but something about the way she engaged with him felt loaded, like there were unspoken words hanging between them. As the evening progressed, I quietly withdrew to a less crowded corner of the room. Cradling a glass of wine, I watched the ebb and flow of movement from afar, finding momentary peace in the relative stillness. It was a small reprieve, a breath away from the social hum, but the calm didn't last. I felt a presence near me and turned to find Evelyn approaching. Her smile was dazzling, but there was something about it polished, perfect, almost rehearsed. She held her drink casually and greeted me with a voice like velvet. "Amelia," she said warmly. "I hope the evening's treating you well." I returned her smile, polite but guarded. "It's been quite pleasant. The food and the music are lovely." She chuckled softly, her eyes drifting momentarily to William across the room. "Isn't he just wonderful? He has a way of making everyone feel at ease. He's such a delight to work with. It's no wonder people here adore him." I nodded, careful to keep my tone even. "Yes, William is an exceptional person. We've been through quite a lot together." Her gaze held on him for a moment longer, then flicked back to me with the glimmer of something unreadable. "You complement each other beautifully," she said, her voice softening. "He's lucky to have you." Then, more quietly, as if sharing a secret, "Still, don't you think a little excitement can be a welcome change now and then?" A strange stillness settled over me. Her words lingered in the air like smoke. Before I could respond, her phone chimed. With a graceful apology, she excused herself, disappearing into the crowd. I remained frozen for a moment, her words echoing in my head. The weight of their possible meanings tugged at me. I told myself not to overthink it. She was just being friendly, maybe a bit flirty, but it was harmless, right? Even so, I couldn't shake the feeling. I tried to re-engage with the party, to focus on conversations and laughter, but my attention kept drifting back to Evelyn, to her glances, her tone, her subtle nearness to William. Eventually, I found William again, chatting casually with his colleagues. When he saw me, his face lit up with that familiar smile that always made me feel safe. For a moment, that smile was enough to steady me. As the evening wound down, guests trickled out, offering their farewells. William and I finally made our way to the car. The air was cool, the night quiet. We were both tired, but there was a pleasant weariness between us. As we pulled out of the lot, I glanced at him. "Did you enjoy yourself tonight?" He nodded. "Yeah, it was a good time. Talking with Evelyn was especially nice. She's always so lively, don't you think?" I smiled, though it felt hollow. "She has a certain presence, that's for sure." He chuckled, unaware of the tension behind my words. "She said something really nice about you, actually. Said you had great style." "Did she?" asked, trying to keep my voice light. "Yeah," he continued. "She's incredibly thoughtful, and so easy to talk to. It's rare to find someone like that at work." His words hung in the air. I realized then that Evelyn's interest hadn't just been in my imagination. The chill in my bones deepened, even as the car heater hummed. I felt as though I was standing on the edge of something I couldn't yet define, a precipice, a whisper of warning. Something unspoken had passed between them, and I was beginning to understand that the evening hadn't just changed my perspective. It had changed everything. The days following the office party slipped by in a hazy as William and I resumed our familiar rhythm. Would leave for work while I took care of everything at home. Yet a transformation had taken root within me. Evelyn occupied my thoughts incessantly. Whenever I caught sight of William Laffinger, engaging in conversation with Simonia, part of me couldn't help but speculate on whether she was somehow intertwined. In those moments I attempted to dispel the swirling thoughts myself that I was merely succumbing to paranoia. The uncertainty remained. A week later, the situation reached its climax. I found myself on the phone with my sister, engaging in our familiar ritual of catching up on Livius. I strolled through the kitchen. I caught sight of William's phone vibrating on the Terra. Luminous display reveals a message preview from an unfamiliar sender. Strong curiosity led me down an intriguing path. I approached and cast my eyes upon the screen. A message arrived. From Evelyn. "Hello William, I hope this isn't too bold, but I truly appreciated our discussion the other evening. Shall we reconnect in the near future?" The two of us. I stood still, caught in a moment of disbelief, me breath hitched in my throat. Her message appeared polite, but something about it felt a bit unusual. Was unfolding what could have prompted her to reach out to William in such a manner? Wasn't it approached as a collective matter or conveyed in a more relaxed manner? Thoughts began to whirl. It lingered in my mind. Thought of whether she was attempting to draw nearer to him. What if her behavior at the party had I merely been lost in my thoughts, or was there subtle interactions that felt charged between her and him all along? I lingered for a brief spalatum to calm the tumult within. May understood that it was time to face William, yet I found myself uncertain about how to approach the matter without implying that he was guilty of something he had not committed. I had no desire to ignite a conflict. The unsettling sensation in my gut was impossible to dismiss with a steadying breath. I grasped his phone and scrutinized the message once again. With a swift motion I crafted a brief response to Evelyn using his phone, hoping to gain a moment's reprieve. "Hello, Evelyn, I appreciate your message. William is quite occupied with work at the moment, but I will make sure to inform him that you reached out. I trust this message finds you in good spirits." I pressed send and set the phone down just as William entered the kitchen. Cast a fleeting look in my direction, demeanor gentle and unguarded. "Greetings. Are you all right?" inquired his tone, gentle and tinged with curiosity. Forced a smile, attempting to maintain an air of normality. "Did merely perusing something on your device. Is well." He nodded. "Yet." A single eyebrow arched in curious cheer. "You certain your expression suggests a hint of uncertainty?" There was a moment of uncertainty. Was the moment. In that pivotal moment, I found myself torn between the choice to confront him or to suppress my emotions and feign that all was well. I noticed Evelyn's message. I replied, my voice softer than I had meant it. Tabesh mentioned her desire to reconnect with you. William's expression flickered with a hint of bewilderment. "Cold. You clarify what you mean?" "Did she'll send me a message?" "Indeed," I responded, striving to maintain a calm tone. What began as a simple invitation carried an undertone that suggested something deeper. Stillness stretched on unbroken silence, enveloping the space. It was evident that William's mind was racing meticulous, sifting through the words I had just shared. At last he let out a soft sigh and approached me tenderly, grasping My hands in his. Amelia, I had no inkling you were experiencing these feelings, remarked, his tone gentle yet sincere. Evelyn and I are merely friends, I assure you. She can be a bit bold at times. There's nothing happening between us. I was unaware that it was causing you discomfort. I gazed at him for a moment, attempting to decipher the nuances of his expression. Was he truly sincere, or could this merely be a finely honed pretexto? Why was the message not shared with May? Inquired, making an effort to keep my tone neutral. Thou? I stumbled slightly in my delivery. I didn't think it was a big deal, William confessed. She has consistently exhibited a more extroverted nature than the majority of her colleagues in the office. I certainly didn't want you to believe that I was concealing anything. However, witnessing your response made me understand that I ought to have been more candid about it. My heart yearned to trust his words. I truly did, yet a fragment of my being remained uneasy, as if an intangible discord lingered in the air. Simply cannot bear the thought of feeling distant or disconnected. I admit it, a hint of vulnerability lacing my words. Seems as though she is seeming to grow closer to you, William. I find myself uncertain about her intentions. William clasped my hands softly, his gaze unwavering as it met mine. Amelia, there's no need for you to be concerned about Evelyn, reassured her. You are the sole focus of my affection. Yet, despite my yearning to embrace his assurances, an unsettling intuition whispered within method. This was far from the conclusion. William clasped my hands, his eyes warming with tenderness. Amelia, my heart is yours. Me heart desires nothing more than your presence. Evelyn is merely a colleague. I genuinely didn't perceive it as a significant matter. However, if it is causing you discomfort, we'll take care of it. We'll ensure she understands that my feelings are strictly platonic. I observed him intently, searching for any hint of dishonest diet. All that met my gaze was the man I had vowed to share my life with. Man I once knew. The uncertainty within me started to dissipate. I gave a slow nod. Very well, I replied softly, uncertainty lingering within my it. I was prepared to place my faith in him. I simply wished to avoid the sensation of drifting away from you. William's smile widened as he enveloped me in a warm embrace. I won't be lost to you, Amelia. I will always be by your side. Yet beneath the surface a flicker of doubt stirred within me, questioning whether Evelyn's motto held greater complexity than either William or I could perceive. Message conveyed a singular notion, yet the question lingered. Ho, would the events transpire from this point onward? Ensuing days unfolded with an unusual tranquility. William took strides to ensure I was more informed, keeping me up to date whenever Evelyn or anyone else from the office contacted him. It provided some relief, yet the lingering discomfort remained ever present. That night at the office party replayed in my mind like a haunting melody. The gaze Evelyn cast upon William had a way of making her presence known, which lingered longer than I expected. A persistent sensation lingered, suggesting that an unseen truth eluded my grasp. The true challenge or evades. The sun dipped below the horizon on that Friday evening. William and I settled into the comforting embrace of our home tent on a serene night together in Lee. The two of us, while I was in the midst of preparing dinner's phone buzzed. Once Maria's eye cast a fleeting look. My heart raced at the sight of Evelyn's name, illuminating the screen. This time it carried a weight beyond mere casualness. A photograph. It was. William had carelessly abandoned his phone on the counter. My strong curiosity began to stir within me. Approached and grasped unable to shake off the nagging sensation of doubt. Image captured Evelyn in a quaint cafe setting. Her smile was broad, radiating a sense of carefree joy, yet it was not that which drew my Gazette message that accompanied the photo was particularly striking. Just savored a cup of coffee and it whistled me back to that unforgettable night at the party. Would relish the opportunity to experience it once more, perhaps in a more tranquil setting, free from the throngs of Piapla. Shiver coursed through my being. The initial impulse was to let the phone slip from my grasp, yet I found myself unable to do so. The essence of that message, the subtle implication woven within, sent a ripple of unease through my gut. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was a little off. Was poised to make her move. I inhaled deeply and set the phone down just before William entered the room. Him felt like an enigma. I couldn't quite unravel. Would he perceive it as I did? Or was I merely overreacting? Smore as William entered from the living room, I remained by the counter, striving to regain my composure. He gazed at me, and in that instant I understood the very moment I beheld his expression. Thought a change had occurred. Us all well, he inquired, a note of worry lacing his voice as he sensed the palpable tension in the atmosphere. I inclined my head, yet the gesture lacked sincerity. A constriction gripped my chest. This transcends mere friendly exchange, doesn't it? Her message caught my attention, carried a weight beyond the ordinary. Is seeming to grow closer to you, William advanced, a profound sculpting his features. Amelia, I assure you, she is merely a colleague. Will is still with not unfold, endure, perhaps reading too much into this. To admit, the words resonated with Empton's frustration, flickered in his eyes, a silent testament to his inner turmoil. Yet I found myself uncertain whether the frustration stemmed from me or the circumstances at hand. William, it has transcended mere words, said my voice, soft yet resolutive. Notice that she seems to seek your attention more than others in the group. Her manner of extending it. Handy, see clearly, it seems she is pushing boundaries, and I find it increasingly difficult to overlook it any longer. It remained quiet for an extended pause. Stillness enveloping the room was overwhelming. At last William exhaled deeply, his hand moving to massage his forehead, confessed that he had not excelled in maintaining transparency with you. I brushed at AFA's. She has always had a tendency to be a bit bold. Did I now recognize the extent of your discomfort, and it is imperative that I address it. I assure you that I will have a conversation with Harriet. Is essential to emphasize that this behavior is unacceptably a fragment of my being. Yearns to trust his words, yet there existed another facet of my Bangoni that had witnessed Evelyn's understated overtures up close, which remained uncertain. I simply require your honesty, William, I stated as the burden of my own feelings bore heavily upon. May refuse to be made a fool of. Not trying to play you, Amelia, said his voice, now imbued with a gentler tonalité. Fury had dissipated, yet the unsubdued remained steadfast and unyielding. I don't want to lose you over this, William said, his voice steady yet resolute. We'll have a conversation with Evelyn to ensure she understands. Her Rolio are the sole focus of my affection. I gazed into his eyes, seeking a glimmer of something reassuring, sincerity, perhaps even a hint of truth. In that fleeting instant, I discovered Edie could see the man I wed, the man who had vowed to me his unwavering loyalty. Amidst that realization, a fragment of my mind lingered in doubt. Could I genuinely place my trust in him? Was there something deeper lurking beneath the surface? Remainder of the evening unfolded in silent sight. The tension that lingered between us remained palpable, though I recognized William's efforts. Me thoughts continually drifted back to Evelyn's message. What was its significance? What lengths was she prepared to venture the following morning after finishing his breakfast? William set out for work, adhering to his customary routine. Yet as he stepped through the threshold, an unsettling feeling washed over me. Nagging thought lingered in my mind, prompting me to question whether I had overlooked something. There was a deeper layer to this than I had initially perceived. I resolved to seize control of the situation myself. I refused to remain idle, passively awaiting answers. I had to uncover the truth about Evelyn, and it was essential that I heard it directly from her. The ensuing days were fraught with tension. I understood the necessity of seizing command of the circumstances at hand. Could no longer allow doubt to gnaw at my resolve. Felt compelled to speak with Evelyn directly to clarify the situation, and address her openly. Uncertainty clouded my mind as I contemplated my approach. An undeniable instinct whispered within, merging that this was the path I was meant to talk. As William departed for work on that Monday morning, my decision was firmly set. He needed to have a conversation with Evelina. Resolution to the disquiet that had settled deep within my heart seemed elusive, leaving me with no alternative but to confront it. Had only extended my hand towards her. Message was clear and to the point. Hello, Evelyn. I was wondering if we could have a conversation. There's been a certain discomfort lingering in the air regarding our recent interactions. Would you be willing to arrange a meeting? The response arrived with remarkable swiftness. I could feel her eagerness to connect. She consented to rendezvous with me at a nearby cafe. Simple, unadorned space, perfect for an earnest exchange of thoughts. A surge of anxiety enveloped me as I donned my clothes and readied myself to step out. This would not be a simple task. I understood the necessity of it, all for the preservation of my marriage. Upon my arrival at the cafe, found Evelyn already Settled at a table by the window, she appeared at ease, cradling a cup of coffee while leisurely scrolling through her phone. Her demeanor was serene, yet the moment our eyes matched, set her phone aside and offered me a courteous smile, a smile that fell short of illuminating her eyes. "Amelia Hish," said, her voice carrying a hint of mischief. "I found myself uncertain about your arrival." I took my seat opposite her, making an effort to calm my racing heart. I hesitated, my gaze locked onto hers as I replied with uncertainty. However, I felt it was essential to discuss everything with Yawar. Smile dimmed a touch, and she reclined in her chair, arms folded across her chest. Not sure what Yuman said, tilting her head in curiositatos. "This pertained to William indeed. It concerns William," I replied, my voice unwavering, yet heavy with the burden of all that had been troubling me. Not entirely sure what has transpired between the two of you, but your attempts to connect with him leave me feeling uneasy." Arched an eyebrow, yet chose to remain silent. I inhaled deeply and pressed on, a growing sense of urgency propelling me forward. "Though our conversations have been full, I find it impossible to overlook the messages that linger between you." See, her attempts to draw nearer to him seem rather misplaced. Evelyn's eyes softened slightly. A flicker of something lingered behind them, something elusive just beyond my grasp. "I understand," she murmured. "Soft light was never my intention to cause you any discomfort. I truly apologize if that was the outcome." For an instant, I found myself disoriented, had anticipated her to be on the defensive, to refute my claims or to brush aside my emotions, yet surprisingly she appeared almost contrite. "Prompted you to send him that message following the party?" Pressed, my heart pounding in my chest. "You mentioned a desire to gather just the two of you." It appeared anything but casual. Evelyn cast her eyes downward at her coffee for a brief moment, lifting them to meet mine once more, at this time imbued with a profound sincerity. "I want to be completely honest with you," Amelia commenced, her voice now a gentle whispering. "In conversation with William at the party was truly enjoyably possessed. A gentle, natural ways, attentive, yet I have never harbored any desire disrupt the bond of your marriage." Hesitated, selecting her words with precision. "I admire the bond you share, and it's evident how deeply you care for one another." A soft sigh slipped from her lips. Ought to have recognized the folly of blurring the boundaries. I reclined in my chair, the gravity of her words enveloping me. Flicker of anger stirred within my simultaneously a wave of relief washed over my danger. Honesty caught me off guard, a revelation I hadn't anticipated. "I never intended to create any problems," continued. "I never wished to be the source of any uncertain between you and William. I sincerely apologize if I have overstepped any boundary." Paused, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. "At times, it can be all too simple to overlook fact that those enjoyable unions are beyond reach." Her voice had taken on a gentler toneless, with a sense of regret, yet one must ponder, was it authentic or merely another intricately woven deception? "I apologize for not honoring that." Evelyn's voice was soft, and for the first time it resonated with authenticity. For a brief moment I remained quiet, abstaining the weight of her words. Revelation caught me off guard, leaving me uncertain about how to respond. Evelyn was not the antagonist I had envisioned her as, had no intention of taking William from Mesh, had merely allowed herself to become somewhat ensnared by the attention lavished upon her. A fragment of my being grasped that notion, a fragment of my being had witnessed it unfold previously. "Thank you for your honesty," finally replied, my voice softer than it had been. "Thank you for your understanding, and I apologize for making assumptions too quickly." Evelyn offered me a fleeting smile. "I understand," she said. "It is only human to guard fiercely that which belongs to you. William is truly a good person, is fortunate to have someone such as yourself." I nodded, sensing a burden ease from my chest. Shade, an unsettling feeling remained, casting a shadow over the moment that had ceased to revolve around Evelyn's story, revolved around William, and me, concerning the necessity of restoring our trust. Path ahead promised to be fraught with challenge. It was indeed. Achievable. Upon exiting the cafe, a peculiar sense of clarity washed over my uncertainty, loomed over the horizon, leaving me to ponder what the future might bring. It there was one certainty that lingered in my mind: I had to place my trust in William first. Without that I would find myself unable to progress. The dialogue with Evelyn had proven beneficial. The moment had arrived to turn my attention to my mariagito. Concentrate on ourselves. Upon my return that evening I found William already present. In the house perched upon the couch, it awaits my arrival. Glanced up as I entered us. Expression a blend of caution and hope. What was the outcome? He inquired softly. I settled beside him, inhaling. Deeply engaged in conversation, I remarked. She spoke to me with unwavering honesty. Took a moment, allowing my words to linger in the air. There is absolutely nothing at all that exists between you two, William. Mute. I find myself yearning for a deeper trust in you. I require you to share more openly with me. William nodded, a wave of relief washing over his features. I can do that, he replied. Assure you I will improve. Extended his hand toward Minnie. Grasp, resolute and unwavering. I wish to hold on to you, not let go for something so trivial. Smile crept across my face, gentle warmth blossoming within my chest. I share your sentiment. Thought of losing you is equally distressing to me. You lingered in silence. For a moment, weight of unspoken words hanging in the air, the gravity of the dialogue suspended in the air between us. On this occasion, there was an unmistakable shift. It seemed as though we were both prepared to advance. Leave the past in the shadow, reconstruct what once was our style. The path may be fraught with challenges, reward at the journey's end would undoubtedly make it all worthwhile.